Hello, I'm Dr. Rick Chambers, and today I have a surprise for you. And I'm going to do something I thought I would never do. I'm going to talk about UFOs in public. And I've often joked that I don't really believe in UFOs because if they were going to abduct anyone, it would have been me. And I want to come at this topic using a magazine I've talked about often in the Book Sense podcast called Parabola Magazine. The byline is The Search for Meaning. And this quarter's edition concerns fire. And what they do is they take a topic like fire and they gather essays from all faith traditions, various cultures, various viewpoints, everyone writing essays about a common theme or finding essays that relate to the theme. And the article I want to highlight today um, that really has me thinking about things in a new way is Fire in the Sky, UFOs and What They May Reveal by Joe Allen. And what this article does is connect the topic of UFOs, UFO sightings, UFO interest to the world of myth, archetypes, and the writings of Carl Jung, and connect it to artificial intelligence and technology. And there's a relationship between these three things. For example, they have kind of a phrase within one of the sentences of the article discussing a resonance of the UFO archetype with the ultimate goal of technocratic elites. And that's kind of how UFOs are envisioned, whether benevolent or dangerous. They are imagined as technological elites, but we also live in an actual world with technocratic elites. So this makes this a very interesting article. I wanted to highlight some phrases from the first sentence of this article. UFO sightings might signal a transition to the technotronic era, brand new age or era. It could herald a spiritless future. As someone from a traditional faith or a faith tradition, this is kind of a terrifying thought of a spiritless future, or a very different way of thinking about things, in which mechanism supplants the divine. That's a major shift within humanity's psyche, within the way that we think, that we may be picking up on. And I would say it this way, that it shifts the heavens from being the home of the gods to the heavens as the home of superior technology. And again, it is replacing the gods with the role and function and relationship, kind of replacing that or transferring that over to technology, because it becomes the most powerful, most all-knowing thing humanity can imagine. So I wanted to give Carl Jung wrote an article on flying saucers, a new modern myth, and they quoted from this article, and this was written in 1957. In the threatening situation of the world today, when people are beginning to see that everything is at stake, the projection creating fantasy soars beyond the realm of earthly organizations and powers into the heavens, into interstellar space, where the rulers of human fate, the gods, once had their abode in the planets. Under these circumstances, it would not be at all surprising if those irreligious sections of the community who ask themselves nothing were visited by visions by a widespread myth seriously believed in by some and rejected as absurd by others. As Jung saw it, this imagery indicates the birth of a modern myth. It also pointed out that these UFO sightings are very often near military bases, or were frequently near military bases and nuclear facilities, which suggests that that they began after 1945 and the atomic bomb. What that begins to suggest is that through superior technology, the end of World War II, because of the atom bomb, and the like intensity and scope of the destruction that was now possible, it both ended the war, but and atomic power held like great promise of like a heaven, and great promise of all of our worst nightmares, that humanity could literally destroy itself. And it was this realization of this level of technology, the gap and the difference between the technologies, created this idea of what if there are people who have technology, what would happen if humanity encounters technology far beyond even this technology? And then there was a sentence to connect this with AI and technocratic elites. Day after day, we're promised or warned that artificial intelligence and robotics will surpass us in every capacity, from data analysis to artistic expression. That humanity is going to have to combine with technology in order to keep pace with the unstoppable AI gods. I recently watched The Social Dilemma, that talks about the changes that have happened to our intimate relationships and our social fabric because of changes in especially social networking, but changes within technology driven by artificial intelligence. And I'd like to really recommend that documentary also, The Social Dilemma. So I'll end this with one sentence from the article. Returning to Jung's theory of flying saucers is psychic projection. It seems that UFOs symbolize a possible future in which technologically advanced entities impose their will on hapless human beings. And I just want to close by saying that it might be very important that there is a shift in that technology is beginning to usurp and function within our psyche, again, replacing what had always been considered the divine as all-powerful, all-knowing, the source of our hopes and fears. And maybe humanity can kind of rethink that a little bit. That was why I felt compelled to do a video on this topic. Thank you very much.